Bear with me, folks, while I get a little acclimated here. I'm trying to do multiple things at once. Let's see here. Okay, looks like we got this down. All right. Well, welcome to my Hump Day AMA. This is Dr. David Snyder, and I just wanted to thank you all. Whoever's showing up, thanks for showing up. Every now and then, I just get the wiggles, and I just need to hang out with some people online who want to do cool stuff with other cool people. So let's see how many people kind of show up and filter in. But I don't know how long I'll be on. But for those of you who have any questions or some things to like, oh, hold on a second. Maybe if I did that would be better. There we go. I'm back. There I am in all my pink glory. All right. How's everybody doing tonight? Hey Jill. Hey Ahmad. Johnny says, looks great. Cool. Here's Joseph. Welcome. Love the pink shirt. Me too. I love my pink. There's Cynthia. There's Alan. J. Allen Oates. Hi, everybody. There's Conrad. They're flooding in now. Oh, Central Florida Sistema. Sistema in the house. Yeah, baby. Hold on a second. My autofocus just went kashit. Let's see here. Oh, it's back. All right. Jay Allen says, loving the glasses. Cool. Hey, while we're here, while we're hanging out, while we're breaking up the monotony halfway through the week, what do you want to know about? What do you want to talk about? We got an amazing next 24 months planned for you guys. All kinds of new classes, courses, deeper dives into existing material. Tomorrow we'll be doing a webinar, free webinar class on how to reprogram your subconscious mind. So I just kind of wanted to jump on and hey, let you know about that. But also to Jill Burton says it takes a real man to wear pink. Well, thank you for that, Jill. Every time I dip my head really fast, I screw up my autofocus. Let me see if I can fix that really quick. We gotta stop being so animated. Autofocus. There we go. All right. Apologize for that. Things happen. So Johnny's asking, I was wondering if you can give your take on amber stones. Johnny, as is my tradition with AMAs, the more specific the question, the better the answer I can give you. So tell me specifically what you want to know about amber stones, and I'll try to give you as best an answer I can. Hold on a second. Everybody there? Oh, we got 40 on here. I got 40 people on and nobody's saying anything. Talk to me, guys. What do you want to know about? Okay, so let's see here. All right, we got something here. Jamie says, hello, David. Can you give me any tips on how to get over procrastination? Yeah, first thing you want to figure out is what's behind the procrastination. In other words, is it something you don't want to do, something you're afraid to do? Procrastination comes in different forms, right? And so the first thing is to kind of figure out what's behind it. So most of our protocols, because they deal with, they utilize a phenomenon we call the holographic memory system or holographic nervous system, starts with a very simple concept called point to where you feel it. And then you unpack it. So that's kind of where I would start. If you go to the YouTube channel, there's a couple of videos. For those of you suffering from procrastination, there's a couple of really good videos that can help you unpack and find ways to get around procrastination. One of the things that we're going to talk about is motivation. Procrastination is almost always, a lot of people think procrastination is a lack of motivation, and it can be, but it can also be fear. It can also be the buildup of negative feelings towards a particular sequence. So one of the things that you want to do is you want to notice where in the body that feeling is located, and you want to unpack it using the transformational triad. So that's the simplest, most direct forward approach. Other things you can do, if you go to the YouTube channel and find the video Resistance Removal Protocol, I give a pretty in-depth treatment on this idea of resistance and a related phenomena known as reactance. And we give you a very specific conversational process that will help you actually find and generate your own reasons for wanting to do the thing you just said you didn't want to do. Okay. There's also a technique called the procrastination blaster, which is based on an old Soviet sports psychology technique known as the echo magnet, which is also available, I believe, for free on YouTube. So between the procrastination blaster, the resistance removal formula, the three techniques in the transformational triad, you should be able to, and the emotional bonding checklist, which we'll cover tomorrow on tomorrow's webinar. You can pretty much blow out any form of procrastination that you're encountering. So there's like 4 or 5 techniques right there, right? The roots of most procrastination go back to what we call an initial sensitizing event, an event that happened usually very early in childhood, that on the surface may seem completely innocuous, but all these other subsequent events get linked to it. And if you can find a way to neutralize that, then all the other stuff just kind of starts to release on its own. But most people don't have that level of training to go back and use that level of intervention. So for most people, the transformational triad, the resistance removal formula, the emotional bonding, emotional motivation checklist and the echo magnet or procrastination blaster are more than enough to actually blow you through any procrastination that you're dealing with, at least in the short term. So try that and let us know how you do. Let's see here. Okay, Conrad wants to know about covert anchoring. Okay, Conrad, what specifically do you want to know about covert anchoring? Sir QE wants to know about vibrational influence. Once again, what specifically would you like to know about vibrational influence? Johnny says, do you need to activate amber stones daily? Not to my knowledge. Stones do need to be activated if you're going to use them. They should probably be cleaned and reactivated periodically, but I don't think it's necessary to do it every single day. Otherwise, people who had crystals in their house would be going around every day like a freaking magic wand going, I activate you, I activate you, I activate. It's kind of, you can charge them with thought forms that will run for a specific amount of time. But by and large, I think if you just cleansed and re-energized or recharged or reactivated your stones once a week or once a month, I think you'd be fine. Let's see. There's Alessandro. David Orman from South Central Florida, Sistema. What is a quick and efficient way of learning a new language? There's an app I was introduced to just a few days ago. I can't remember the name of it. But it's an app that it gamifies the process of learning languages. And I think anytime you can make things fun, that's a great way to start. So that app, I'm sorry, I don't remember the name, David. I saw it. It was a brief mention on a webinar I was on, and I don't remember that. But the other thing you can do is you can begin to use like a neurofeedback device, kind of, or a light and sound machine to put you in a heightened learning state and practice your language there. You can also take the verbiage that you want to learn, the specific sequences of languaging that you want to install, speak them into a tape recorder and listen to them as you go to sleep at night. And this will sleep program you to install and be able to utilize and remember the languages. Okay? So hopefully that helps. But anything you can do to amplify learning states. One of the things that I think Erickson used to do it, or maybe it was Bandler, I can't remember, was to regress people to a point when they were little children and their language centers were like on full tilt boogie into these hyper learning states. And again, I don't know what your hypnosis background is, so I don't know if those are things that would be viable for you. You could use the transformational triad to begin to neuroprime yourself or create hyper neuroplasticity to get more bang for your buck. But I think hopefully that helps you. Amazing Life says, David, how are you? I'm good. Kevin Hardy says, good morning, Dr. Schneider. Good morning back, Mr. Hardy. Johnny21 is asking, what's your favorite stone to wear? I wear 2 amber stones, which I bought from Lithuania, and I can notice a boost in my confidence. Can you give me any tips on how I can make the best use of them? What are you doing with them now? Just so I know. Just answer that question. I'll try and circle back. Jay Allen says, do you teach in-person classes where you are? Are they more in depth than the one? Oh yes, absolutely. How many veterans do we have here from Planet David who've been to our live events? Can you guys speak to Jay Allen's question about the live events? Cynthia's asking, mine is due to my relationship. Everything seems to have stopped doing the meditation you gave. Okay. Oh, okay. Yeah, okay. Woohoo, David. Adrian Martinez says, welcome. All right. Dirk says, good afternoon from Hamburg. Very good. Anayan says, what is the most powerful meditation in your opinion that one can do 10 to 15 minutes in a day to get tremendous results? That's a really good question, because now once again, what's the result you want? You see, one of the things that you have to understand is that you can figure out just about how to do just about anything if you know what you want and you can state it clearly. So with Anais' not Anais' question. Oh yeah, it is Anais' question. What's the quickest way to make affirmations work? State them in the form of a question, or use a cause and effect language structure when you say it. So for example, if people want to make a lot of money, right, or want to earn a six-figure income, for example, right? Traditional affirmations would tell you every day I am rapidly earning $100,000 or more a year. I am earning $100,000 or more per year. I am learning $100,000 or more per year. That's a traditional classic affirmation. If you want to get the full power of your neurology behind what you're doing, then you need to understand how the filters of your nervous system work. And so one of the most powerful ways that you can do that is to state your affirmations using a cause and effect structure. So, what is a cause and effect structure? Cause and effect structure would be X causes Y, or X because Y. So try this for all of you who want to do this. Let's use the I now earn six-figure question. All right, I now rapidly earn $100,000 or more per year because. As soon as you ask the because, listen to what your unconscious mind fills in the blank. Right? I now earn $100,000 a year because. What comes up? What pops into your head? Whatever that answer is, that's the energy, that's the information your neurology will accept. Okay? So take that. Let's do this together. I mean, we'll probably play this we might play with this a little bit tomorrow on the webinar. just because I want you to understand that everything your neurology does has a coding system to it. And the more on code you are, the more rapidly the nervous system recruits all of its resources to facilitate that outcome. So what we're using now is a hardwired structure into your neurology called cause and effect. When I say something and I put up a cause after it, my brain automatically wants to fill in that blank. The moment it fills in that blank, that becomes the answer that will give it the greatest degree of motivation to take forward. So I now earn $100,000 a year because fill in the blank, write it down and speak it out loud and notice what happens to the feelings in your body. Type that in the chat. Okay, so Anais is, hold on a second. Anais is asking, how can I build unshakable confidence within myself through meditation? How can I achieve it in 10 to 15 minutes a day? First of all, start with your physiology. Control your posture, control your breathing. Stand or sit in a physiology that is analogous to a high level of unshakable confidence. Remember a time, we'll do this again. Again, this is all, y'all ask me stuff I'm going to do on the webinar tomorrow. But here, let's play with this one a little bit, all right? If you're driving, don't do this. All right? But if you are not driving and it's safe to do this, do this. Okay. Oops. I got to change my my camera angle here. Hold on a second. That's not going to work. I'll just have to sit back a little bit more. All right. So first thing you want to do is you want to stand in a position. Remember the last time you felt super confident? All right? What did you see? What did you hear? What did you smell? What did you taste? Close your eyes and imagine what that's like. When you see what you see and you hear what you hear and you smell and you taste what you smell and you taste, what's that feeling that you get? Where in your body does it start? Where does it grow? Where does it spread from? Right? Point to where you feel it. Imagine a big ball of that energy floating above your head. Notice how the feelings in your body shift and change with every breath you take and every beat of your heart. That ball of energy begins to grow. It fills the entire room, wraps itself around you. Breathe it through your body and allow your body to shift into a physiology of absolute confidence, absolute certainty, right? Notice how you're standing or sitting. It's always better to start by standing, right? And just breathe that color through your body. And every time you breathe through, imagine that energy doubling and tripling in size and strength, doubling and tripling in force and magnitude. Expand it until it begins to radiate from your body like the rays of the sun, right? And then imagine that you could, that energy that's beginning to radiate around you begins to spiral around your body faster and faster and faster, creating a shield that seals in that confidence and reflects and deflects any negativity, any kind of a thing that might make you feel less than confident about yourself. Set the intention that it's going to keep running as you move through the world, and move through the world in this physiology of confidence. Okay? Now, if you do that for 10 to 15 minutes, 2 or 3 times a day, I promise you things are going to change, right? Now, I could give you all the mechanics for why that works, but the bottom line is you don't need to know any of that shit for this to work for you, right? But every time you want a state, all you have to do is name the state and remember a time in your life when you felt that way, how you were standing in that moment, how you were breathing in that moment. Let the body feeling come back, turn it into a color, fill the room with it, wrap it around you, breathe it through your body, and just soak in it. Okay? This is a really powerful, very quick and easy way that you can begin to start programming your state. Remember, the behavior that gets rewarded or gets reinforced gets repeated, and that's what we want to do, right? It's like building muscle memory. I'm going to put this down a little bit more. I'm playing with my table here for different heights. Let me see what else is in my question and answer session here. Oops. Oh, that was good the way it was. Never mind. Hold on a second. That's good. No, I liked it the other way. I'm so indecisive today. I was kind of torn whether to jump on today or not because I have a big webinar tomorrow, and but I was just jonesing to get out in front of you guys and just say hi and and hang out and do cool stuff. So you're stuck with my my neediness right now. Okay. Need to scroll back up here. David says, thank you, you're welcome. Jill says, persuading someone that's resistant to hear what you have to say. Jill, I referenced the videos I said earlier, the resistance removal formula, the emotional bonding and motivation checklist. Those are going to be super powerful for getting people to want to do the things they just told you they don't want to do. Okay? You also might want to look into echo technique, softening, which is part of our language training that we do. Okay? And of course, reframe training, which we'll talk a little bit about that on the webinar tomorrow. La Vega de Solar says, which results? I don't know which ones, I don't know what that means. Let's see here. While I was teaching you guys stuff, I missed so many questions. I got to go back over them now and look at them. Let's see here. Donka says, healing faster, learning languages equals NLP, HMR, and removing unconscious blocks and limiting relation to learning. Okay, that was just a helpful comment. Clarinetta says, David, can you tell us how guided hypnosis helps to manifest? Can I tell you how guided hypnosis helps to manifest? Well, there's no Taoist saying is we bring about what you think about. And so one of the prime directives of your unconscious mind is to actually make your external reality match your internal one. So any changes that you install in your inner universe, in your inner world, your unconscious mind begins to manipulate its perceptions and the behaviors that result from that to bring about the external reality that mirrors what you've created inside. That, in a very 50,000 foot view, is how hypnosis is used for manifestation. Right? Everything we do as a hypnotist is a form of manifestation. It's about transformation and manifestation. So hopefully that helps. Jacob Bonner, yo, what is going on? It's been a while since I could watch one of your videos. Welcome back, Jacob. Right on. Conrad says, an influence for a positive beneficial outcome, health related. Okay. Now I have to go up and look at your first question so I can get the context for the second question. Covert anchoring. Okay. So if you're looking for influence, covert anchoring is really simple. The first thing that most people don't understand about anchoring is that you have to have an intention to anchor. Anchors are something that are set more by intention than by what you do with your physical body. Okay? So if you're going to covertly anchor, then what you need to do is you need to name a subject or a topic, describe it vividly so that people start to feel the body feelings that you want them to have, and then you have to use a deliberate tonality, physical action, keyword, what have you, to link the feeling you've just created to the trigger word. Now, what the secret of this is you've got to do it multiple times. So you can't just say, you can't just talk about, like for attraction, for example, an incredible connection. You can't just talk about it once and link it to a self point or something and expect it to really have a lot of power. You've got to cycle them through that at least 3 times, and then you have something that you can work with. Okay? I don't know what your background is as far as anchoring skills go, so I have to keep it very, very general. Certainly we teach these things in our upcoming NLP class, and you can learn the whole ins and outs of overt and covert anchoring, because you should know how to do overt anchors before you start playing with covert anchors. You really can't do one without the other. It's like learning hypnotic language. If you can't competently, consistently hypnotize another human being without using hypnotic language, then you're not going to be very good at it using hypnotic language, because all hypnotic language does is amplify what you've got, right? And so the more core your skill sets are, the easier these other things are, and the more bang you get for your buck. Susan says the app is Duolingo. Also, there are podcasts and videos. Thank you, Susan. Appreciate that. Joseph Christian says, what about procrastination with making money? Okay, what specifically about procrastination with making money are we talking about? Here's the thing you need to understand. Most of the reasons why people don't take an action on something boil down to two basic broad categories. One, they don't want to, and B, they don't want to. Okay? The question is, why don't they want to? Well, most of the time, it's fear. But the other half of that is skill set. And here's how you make the distinction between it. Is my problem a mindset issue or a skill set issue? If you know the exact steps to take and the order and sequence to take them and when to take them, but you're simply not doing it, you've got a mindset issue. If you're chomping at the bit to get started, you would start yesterday if the opportunity presented itself, but you don't have the first clue what that looks like or where to begin or where to start or how to recognize that opportunity, you got a skill set problem. One often masquerades or is confused with the other. If you know the exact steps to take and where to take them and with who to take them with, and you're just not doing it, that's mindset. That's you being afraid of not getting something or becoming something you don't want to be. Okay, that's really what it comes down to. But if all those other things are true, you know where to do it, when to do it, who to do it with, how long to do it, it's not a skill set issue anymore. It's a mindset issue. Right? So I hope that helps. Let's see here. So Jacob says, I'm trying to get very wealthy and I need to know everything you know about hypnosis in every way, and I also will need to know everything you know. Well, Jacob, here's my advice. Start showing up. If you want everything I got, I've got a very elite level coaching program. We call them the Mega Platinums. And they're literally on a lifetime plan with me. So they literally have access to me for the rest of my natural life, or theirs. And they are entitled and will get access to everything that I have. It is obviously, as you can imagine, it's not a cheap program. But believe it or not, we actually do have people. In fact, Liz G, right below you there, is one of my new Mega Platinums. Say hi, Liz. See here. Michelle Shaw. Hello from Corpus Christi. Hello back. Liz says, nothing else like a live event. Very powerful. Johnny says, I don't really do much to the stones other than charging them. Okay. Well, I know one of the reasons that Marcel became so good was because he binge watched my videos for most of his life. One time I showed up on one of his Clubhouse podcasts and he saw my name and was like, oh my God, this is like Julius Erving visiting a rookie. I'm paraphrasing a little bit, but that's what he said. Let's see here. Jay Allen Oates, anything in person is much more incredible. How do you compare the connection with the ocean compared to the trees in the forest? Again, very vague question, Johnny. Don't know what you're asking me there, bud. Okay. Alessandra says, I keep getting stuck in memories about my ex. I feel like my life doesn't compare to that relationship. I think this is stopping me from finding a new relationship. Point to where you feel it. Ask yourself if it's okay to let it go. Magic frame it. Move it behind you. Energy spin it and color breathe it. And you should be good to go. What did I just say in other words? Transformational triad. Guaranteed you'll be moving on faster than you can say. Okay? Letting go of the past is really easy when you apply the transformational triad. If that still doesn't work for you, then you go into the resistance removal protocol and then you do the transformational triad again. If that doesn't work, find someone skilled in regression and regress the cause and find out why you're really holding on to those memories or that relationship. That's beyond what you think. Because when something will not go away, that thing is never the real problem. There's something deeper, and regression helps you find that. But usually you can do just about everything with the transformational triad. Ananias, I want to build unshakable. Okay, we already did. We already talked about that. Okay, Robin says, I now earn over $100,000 a year because I enjoy doing whatever I want, whenever I want. What happens to your neurology? Like when you did that, what happened? All right, maybe I'm a little bit behind here. Healing is mastermind. Okay. Yeah, mastermind is this Saturday, guys. For those of you who are interested, we do have an online mentoring program. It gets together on the third Saturday of every month. It is available through our YouTube channel. You have to sign up at the diamond level, and you'll receive a Zoom invitation to come in from 11 a.m. to about 4 p.m. Pacific, and we will literally boot camp you on the skills you need to move a lot forward in life. So. Okay, Martin Communications is asking, I'm not asking this from a disparaging intention, rather one of curiosity. You seem like you actually use these techniques. Why are so many legit NLP teachers and hypnosis teachers overweight? Keep in mind that I can only speculate. I'll give you several possibilities. A, they don't care about their weight. That's probably the easiest one to figure out. It's just not one of their values. The second one would be is they don't want to deal with their own stuff, and so that excess body weight is the equivalent of body armor. Okay. Third is they just lead a very hedonistic lifestyle. They're more focused on the benefits of collecting fees and giving people certifications. But in Martin, to just kind of flip the script on that, here's the thing I want you to there's a presupposition in your languaging that I think I'd like you to think about. If you have a presupposition or a value or belief that to be a legitimate neurolinguistic programmer or trainer, you need to be height weight proportionate. And I want to suggest that perhaps that's your own value that you're imposing on those other trainers. There's a couple of trainers out there who I deeply respect who aren't the skinniest people in the world. But if you're coming from it with the presupposition that somebody who has their shit together on a neurolinguistic level should be height weight proportionate, they should be the epitome or the embodiment of perfect behavior, perfect health. Again, those are expectations that are probably not going to serve you in the long run, but you have the right to them. I just wanted to point them out to you just so you don't kind of shortchange yourself on getting some quality training from people because they don't fit your template, your physical template perfectly. Judge the people that you train with by the students they produce and what you see them actually do. Right? It's very easy, and there's this very strong bias, and it started in our culture, but it's probably been in every culture, that people who are overweight are sloppy, or they don't care about their appearance, and that there's some truth to that, but it's certainly not true for everyone, and so I would be very careful making that generalization. Right? Judge the people by what they do and how that compares to what you want to be able to accomplish. Now, if you're someone who has a weight problem, for example, and you want to use NLP to fix that problem, and the people that you're being presented with are all overweight, now you have a legitimate basis for your presupposition. Because obviously you're going to emulate what you expose yourself to. So I think it's important when you are a trainer, when you are a coach, I'm speaking editorially now, I think it's really important that you embody the avatar of what you teach. I think you should be a product of the technologies that you teach. So I'll be honest with you, I've battled with weight all my life, and hypnosis and NLP have been, as well as energetics, have gone a long way in helping me to figure out the emotional reasons behind why I was generating those behaviors. A lot of it was just crappy upbringing, but a lot of it was substituting food for love, food for comfort, those kinds of things. A lot of people in the NLP world, unfortunately, don't seem to really want to use their techniques on themselves. which is kind of sad to think about it. But I could talk for hours about what I think about the NLP community, and I love anybody who endeavors to learn NLP. Should be, it's a deep study if you want to do it well. It doesn't have to be as hard as most trainers make it, for sure. But a lot of them just don't use this stuff on themselves, right? Because a lot of it is hard to do on yourself without a certain, there's certain modalities or methodologies that we use for using this stuff on yourself that a lot of people don't have. So that's as far as I'm going to go with it. So Joseph says, I've been given opportunity, so it's mindset. Okay, great. Now what you want to do is you want to elicit your values and what's important about going for it. You want to use resistance removal to generate your own reasons for going forward. You want to use the transformational triad to dissolve the resistance, and you want to use the procrastination blaster to motivate yourself to take immediate action. All of that material is available for free on our YouTube channel. Okay? Okay. Okay. So Blute is asking, how do you deal with guilt or low self-esteem? The same way you deal with any emotion. You got to understand something, that emotions are something that we generate on the spot. Okay? And no matter what kind of emotion we're generating, it has a structure to it. And once you understand that structure and how the system creates it, you can go in and change it. So if you have guilt, hold on a second, let me scroll back up here. So again, if you want to deal with guilt, low self-esteem, first line of attack is going to be the transformational triad. Okay? Damien Bravo, what can you comment on the Avery training by Chase Hughes? What specifically do you want me to comment on, Damien? You can give me a better question. Okay? Antron Petty, hey Dave, do you have dates for live events for 2023? Thank you, sir. We have a few dates set there. You can get those at davidsnyder.nlp.com. Oops. /events. There will be more as we get the contracts for the venues set. Let's see here. Medium Star Readings by Mary V. Transformational what? Transformational Triad. There's 3 techniques in the Transformational Triad. You have magic frame, energy spinning, and color breathing. These are 3 of the most powerful, fastest working techniques that I have run across. They have literally shrunk tumors in minutes. They've changed removed pain and phobias in as little as 90 seconds. And when you use them in a systematic way, there isn't much that you can't actually remove, right? Unless what you're getting rid of isn't the actual problem. And even then, a lot of times it'll take care of it. Liz G says, regression from Dr. David was freaking powerful. Yeah, it was. Okay. Joe Nodar says, hey David, are there any resources on how to create more Jing and Shen? Yes. And I ask, could you finish the part on how to make our subconscious accept affirmations once we find the cause? Yes. I said it a couple of times already, but so you say, let's say for example, you want to be more confident. You might say, every day in every way, I'm becoming more confident because, and then just listen to what your inner voice says. And whatever the first thing is that pops up, write that down, okay? And then speak it out loud and notice what happens to the feelings in your body. It's really simple. It's called a STEM question. And it uses what we call a cause and effect structure that it forces your neurology to generate an internal reason for why something is possible, desirable, and going to happen. The because, I could spend a whole day unpacking because, right? There's a video somewhere here on YouTube called the 21 Most Powerful Words in the Human Language. If you find that video, there's a link in the comments section that if you click that link, it'll take you to a special opt-in form that will sign you up for my newsletter, but it will send you the PDF of the 21 one most powerful words in human language. And you'll learn all about cause and effect in that PDF. It'll teach you everything you need to know, and you'll understand why that particular structure for doing affirmations is so powerful. Oh, Alora says, hit the like button to show your support, everyone. Thank you, Alora. I am so bad at asking for likes and stuff like that. If you guys could just like and share and spread the word, that would be so helpful. I got to get in the habit of doing that. So if you guys catch me not asking for likes, because I'm new to that whole ask for the like and share thing, just like put it out there for me. Okay? Help me help you help me. So Martin says, wow, thank you, you're right. Thank you, David. You're welcome, my friend. How long should you do the affirmations for daily, and how many beliefs can you work with at the same time? You can do it until you don't want to do it anymore. But the secret is what's going to happen, though, when you do use this affirmation structure, you're going to get pumped. And you're going to get pumped up really fast. Most people, by the time they hit 5 to 10 of these affirmations, they're vibrating. Okay, it's a very, very different phenomenon, an experience, than doing the classic rote affirmations, because it's harnessing and stimulating the power of your nervous system. And so what you do is you build that up, and then you take immediate action. You figure out one thing that you can do to start moving that process forward. It might be, reading a book. It might be drawing a plan. But you got to follow that. You've got to let your unconscious mind know that you're serious about this by the actions that you take. So as soon as you've got that pump going, and you might want to figure this out before you do the affirmations, so that you already have mapped out in your mind a sequence of tasks that you want to do. Do the affirmations, set it and forget it, take the and do the steps. And notice that you start to, what'll happen is you won't want to stop. You'll start looking, what else can I do? What else can I do? What else can I do? Right? Because the hardest part is starting. So you want to have as clear a path of tasks that you can do readily available. Is this helpful? Is this useful? Let me scroll back up here. Dream Your Love says, how to make my energy invisible. Dream, you're going to need to elaborate on that. What do you mean by make your energy invisible? Dora117 says, David, how do you look so naturally sexy today? I practice a lot when I'm alone. Sunpeach 321, Initiation into Hermetics. May I ask you if you followed the book in depth, i.e. there's the suggestion of eye bath by dunking head in water boiled night before. I've never done that, so I can't really comment on it. But I use Barden's work consistently. I've used it consistently for almost 15 or 20 years. And it's a great manual. When you have a question about something, especially if in your personal practice, you can usually find the answer in that first book. And if it's not in the first book, it's for sure in the third book. I don't spend a lot of time on the second book because I'm not into invoking spirits and evoking. Although my energy training now and my metaphysical training is starting to move in that direction, it's not something that I advocate a whole lot. So the first and third books to me are my bread and butter when it comes to a European Western Hermetic approach to working with these natural forces. But the short answer is I've never used the eye bath thing, so I can't comment on it one way or another. But if you have competent people around you, give it a shot and see and report back what happens. Medium Star Reading says, okay, thank you. I did go over your magic frame yesterday. Good. Naya says, where can we find the Transformational Triad video? I'm a new subscriber to David. Type in instant emergency pain relief or how to get rid of emotional pain. Most of what you want should be on those videos. That's a good place to start. Man, I did that and didn't want to go to bed. It was 5 a.m. Medium, are you talking about the affirmations? Sun Peach 321 is asking, image cycling, distinguishable feeling between practice and hypercycling, such as the image no longer being visible in the screen. That's supposed to happen. What will happen is when you start cycling the images, you'll be able to track them at a certain speed, but as you start to pick up speed, you'll start dropping images. And then and sometimes what happens is they'll start coming up in different orders. Just keep speeding it up. At some point, the images will disappear completely, but you'll still feel like something is happening. I call that going into hyperspace. Have you ever watched like Star Wars where they're zipping along at sublight speed and then they go into hyperspeed? There's that little membrane that they pass through, and then for all intents and purposes they're gone from normal space. That's kind of what happens in the image cycling process. You start cycling and cycling and cycling and cycling, and assuming you've taken the time to use the loading phase where you've written out everything you want, 3 degrees, and meditated on it for 5 minutes each for each of your entries, all that stuff is already embedded in your neurology. So as you cycle it faster and faster and faster, you're just speeding up the vibration and going into that hyperspace non-local universe where we can impregnate the akasha with those causes. So it's very normal for you to lose track of the images. That's actually supposed to happen. Okay. Ananias is asked, David, could my fatigue be in part built up energy? Yes. In fact, in your case, it probably absolutely is. You probably need to do more physical exercise and a lot more energy clearing. You should probably get a good chi regulator as well. I would go to a licensed herbalist for something like a Xiaoyasan or rambling powder type of an herbal formula. That's probably a really good. Mugwort is actually a good blood mover. So anything that will move the blood is also moving the chi. So yeah, a lot of times too much energy can masquerade as not having enough or fatigue. Ananias is asking, very weird and off-topic question, David. What are your thoughts on God, and what do you think happens after death? After death, after you drop the body, your astral body moves to the vibrational level that it achieved during your life. It stays there until it dissolves, at which point your soul goes back up to your soul group, and then you start. From there you debrief, and then you decide when it's time to come back. You choose the circumstances of your next life. Your soul creates a spiritual body which pulls together the elements from the astral and energetic plane. That creates an astral shell. And then your astral shell pulls together the components of the 5 elements in this realm that creates a physical body, and poof, you incarnate. That's what I think happens. Probably way more information than you wanted, but that's what I think happens. Let's see here. Martin, what's the most effective way to acquire a deep desire to do something you currently find painful? Resistance removal protocol and the emotional motivation checklist. With those 2 things, you can turn anything you want into something you're salivating to get over with or get done. Okay? It's really, really simple. Again, these are actually things we'll be talking about tomorrow on the webinar, and we'll show you how to take it even further. Benjamin is asking, what is the 3rd book called? I've heard of Barden's first 2. First book is Initiation into Hermetics. 2nd book is Magical Invocation and Evocation. 3rd book is Keys to the True Kabbalah. Now, I suggest that if you're going to go to the 3rd book, you only read the 3rd book for informational purposes, because if you can't do the exercises in Barden's first book, you're not going to be able to do anything with the information in the 3rd book. Everything is sequential. So if you need to develop the attributes and the skill sets so that you can apply it to Kabbalism. Okay? So again, go back to the first book and spend most of your life on the first book. Okay. Sun Peach says, thank you so much, Dr. Schneider. You are very, very welcome. Lawrence Liberty says, I have too many thoughts. What can I do to calm my mind so I can get to sleep? First of all, do the transformational triad. Color breathing is going to be very useful for that. The other thing you can do is move your mind to the soles of your feet and imagine a big magnet pulling all of your energy down to the soles of your feet. And what will happen is one of the reasons that we have trouble going to sleep at night is that we have too much energy up in our heads, and so we're cycling. So we want to take that energy, move it down to the soles of our feet, keep our minds in the soles of our feet as our eyes start to And as more and more of our energy moves down and migrates down there, we'll start to get sleepier, and then just allow yourself to nod off to sleep. Okay. Let's see here. My daughter is on the floor next to me, laughing as it's at some of my answers. So let's see here. Thank you so much, Dr. Snyder. You are welcome. The amazing David, I got a question. Do you have any great recommendations for learning erotic hypnosis? Yes. Better question, better answer. Joe Nodar is asking, hey David, is Secret Orgasm Tips 2 and 3 available? Yes and no. And let me explain that. For those of you who have never heard of Secret Orgasm Tips, it was my very first debut in terms of teaching people how to get the life they want the way they wanted. It was a course designed to teach any man or woman how to be the other partner's perfect lover the first time they were together. I originally developed this system for me, not for you, and I used it to become one of the top attraction and pickup artists of 2005, as voted by Art of Approaching and SeductionLayer.com. When I released that program, I mentioned levels. I released level 1 of the system, and I talked about 2 and 3 in the course. But I never released them as a course. After about 3 or 4 years, I realized I needed to make good on that promise. So what I did was I called my, at that time I had a handful of really advanced students, and I brought them in for a weekend workshop. I hired somebody to come in and be my assistant, and I taught the entire system from the Secret Orgasm Tips material up to all the digital stimulation techniques, the orgasm techniques, the hypnotic techniques, the entire system for giving absolute pleasure and conditioning with pleasure. I taught it all in an entire weekend, and we videotaped that course, and it became known as the Unlimited Lover course. And so that is available if you reach out to Stephanie at NLP Power and ask for the Unlimited Lover video training program. That's the entire system. Okay, so that's what we did. Okay, let's see here. So Anayan is asking, so this is a life that I chose for myself. Where can I read more on this? Start with Journey of Souls. Journey of Souls, based on my teachers, the people I study with who have access to all of these closed-door trainings. I think his name is Newton, Michael Newton. Hold on a second. Michael Newton got it right. In his over 7,000 past life regressions, he actually started to explore what happens between the lives. And when the people that I study with got a hold of that book, they were like, oh my God, he nailed it. This is exactly what happens. So if you want to get a pretty good picture of what has been scientifically through research and over 7,000 past life regressions, that's a good place to start. If you take that and you contrast that, or you cross-reference that with the information that Barden gives you in Initiation into Hermetics, you'll start to see some correlations, right? So that's a good place to start. Anais, and what if my life has a lot of suffering? I chose suffering for myself. Why didn't I choose a happy life? Anais, it's very simple. If you'd chosen a happy life, you wouldn't have learned anything. Brent Baum calls this particular incarnation where we all inhabit Trauma School Earth. And this is one of the things that you can accept it or not. This universe, this dimension that we inhabit in a physical form, we chose the body that we have, the parents that we incarnated into, to give us opportunities to overcome things, to extrapolate learnings, to evolve. If you're born into a happy life, what's it going to teach you? It's not going to teach you anything. Okay? Now, underneath all the layering and all the energetic masks and stories and things like that is your true self, right? That eternal soul that knows why you did everything, why you made all the choices you make and the choices you're going to make in the future. But it's just a spectator. It's observing you, right? And so a lot of our work, we talk about Ming or Golden Path. A lot of our work here in this plane is getting back to that original face, getting back to becoming bonded to that soul being that we are, and seeing the life that we live from that perspective. The byproduct of that is as you migrate towards that soul level, you gain more and more power. You gain more and more ability to change reality because you realize there is none. I know it sounds kind of weird, but yeah, again, remember that the things that you're encountering, positive or negative, are designed to give you choices, to give you experiences that allow you to evolve, right? Nothing in your life is wasted. Nothing in your life is meaningless. Nothing in your life inevitably means what you think it means. There's always a higher level, a higher learning, another understanding, a different perspective to take. And that's a big piece of transforming your reality. Okay? And part of our problem is attachment. We get too attached to things, and that's where a lot of our suffering comes from. Buddha had it right. We just didn't want to believe it. Okay? The door 117 is asking, does the astral body dissolve faster or slower when you have vibrational balance? Generally speaking, the more balanced and equilibrated the astral body is, the more durable it is. The more durable it is. And that's actually, if you look at Barden's work, that's a lot of your work, is to tonify, balance, and harmonize that astral body so you can do more with it. In fact, a lot of your Taoist teachings are all about that too, is about generating an energy body that can basically last indefinitely, or just be able to move through different vibrational planes at will. There are practices for that. It's just most people will never get them. So the good news is you'll all get there eventually, one way or another. It's just those with the access to the teachings now will tend to get there faster because they have access to the teachings. Let's see here. What if my life has a lot of suffering? Yeah, I think I've already answered that. Okay. That's not to me. Okay. Is it ethical to apply NLP in sales? Depends. Oscar Alvarez is asking. Is it ethical to apply NLP in sales? It depends. And this is what it depends on. A, are you deceiving the customer in any way? Can you, in fact, deliver on the promises that you keep in such a way that the client feels they've gotten what they asked for? Right? If you can answer yes to those three questions, then it is ethical to use NLP in a sales presentation. If the answer to any one of those questions is no, then it is not. And it would be unethical whether you're using NLP or not. So hopefully that helps you. Jill says, I still can't understand why I chose this life. It's been rough. You're right. Nobody here has it easy. Nobody. Here's where we're all the same and we're all different. We've all experienced the same things. Anger, fear, sorrow, guilt, rage, betrayal, jealousy, envy. We've all experienced them. We're all experiencing them on a daily basis in some form or another. The only thing that changes is the story that led us to those feelings and emotions. All of us are special because none of us are special. But when you look at the person you've become, and you look back on those experiences, what did they teach you? What lessons did you get from that experience? Right? And what's good about that? Right? You know, I forget what famous philosopher said this, and I'm probably going to mangle the quote, but it basically said, the unexamined life isn't worth living. So when you look at your life experiences, even the ones that bring you pain, first of all, if it's still bringing you pain, you haven't cleared it yet. So a lot of times the lessons that you need to learn are behind the pain. You have to transform the pain so you can get to the lesson. And that's how you know one of the hallmarks of true change work. Like when you do the transformational triad or the color breathing exercise or the spinning. What happens a lot of times is as that energy is released from your three bodies, you have this spontaneous reframe or this spontaneous epiphany. But oh my God, that's why that happened, or that's why why I was doing that. It's behind the feelings. But human beings, because we're operating mostly from our animal consciousness, the animal consciousness runs towards what feels good and away from what feels bad. Right? Mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, we run away from what feels bad. The self-evolving human, one who understands that you're here to learn things, that you want to get on, that the self-actualizing human who wants to get on the fast track to becoming the best version of yourself, at some point they realize that in order for them to evolve the fastest and the most pervasively, they have to run as enthusiastically and passionately towards the things that make them want to run away as they do towards the things they want to run towards. Because your greatest moments of growth, your greatest moments of empowerment are behind the things that make you want to run away. I think the Chinese said it probably in one of the best ways. And it mirrors our neuroscience hand in glove. The urge to quit is greatest right before you're about to succeed. The urge to quit is greatest, strongest, right before you're about to succeed. Right? We all go through these long, dark nights of the soul where everything seems against us. People hate us. The people that, my job blew up, falling off my diet wagon. We all go through these long, dark nights of the soul. Understand that there's a purpose, and it's not to punish you. It's to teach you about yourself and the world that you live in. All that's necessary in those moments is to just keep going. Just put one foot in front of the other. And when you get to the other side of it and you look back, you'll say, holy shit. I'll either never do that again or wow, I didn't know I could do that. Right? It's all about lessons and empowerment. And again, you can't have one without the other. We would like it to be that way. But for everything you get in this world, there's going to be a sacrifice. Those sacrifices, by the way, are almost always something that's causing you pain and ego. Okay. Deepak Wankiti says, "Did love from India? Love you back, India. Namaste, baby." Cerberus says, "You can read a lot by what's in the grocery cart of her reading choices." Okay, I don't know what that's about. Let's see here. Let me see here. The grocery store and the library work well for me, Diego. Sunpeach says, you mentioned... Hold on a second, I got to scroll up a little bit, I'm sorry. Is this useful, by the way? I know I'm behind on the chat, but I'm trying to make sure that I don't leave anybody out. I know some of you, I kind of fell through the crack. Do I think time exists? Only in my mind, Danielle is asking. This world's not supposed to be in harmony, Donka. This world is a place where you have to create harmony out of it. Okay? Again, you got to see the big picture here. You're still seeing it from the perspective of the Po, or the animal consciousness. Right? There's a plan. And if you get in contact with your soul, your eternal soul and your soul family, you'll start to understand that big picture. And everybody's big picture is a little bit different. Okay? Most people, when they come to me, by the way, they're not coming to me for lessons in cosmology and where do I go after I die? Most people don't have those questions. They want to know how to get laid, how to make more money, how to stop feeling bad, how to remove blocks to their success, right? Ironically, the tools for doing all of those things are the same tools, which drives people crazy till they realize it's true. But lately I've noticed a trend in our community towards these metaphysical applications and things like that. So I'm much more willing to talk about them than I used to, mostly because I had some experiences when I was very young that strongly motivated me to just lock all this information up behind a door and never talk to the general public about it again. So for those of you who've been around 12 years, you know how reticent I've always been to move beyond anything that has to do with language patterns or rapport skills or therapy. So I don't know. Somebody here needed to know that. I don't know why. Sun Peach is saying, you mentioned soul group. Would this suggest to the beliefs that we incarnate with other specific souls into the physical plane repeatedly? Yes and no. The idea behind soul groups or soul families is that your soul is vibrating at a specific frequency. And there are other souls vibrating at that frequency that form a family, like a family unit or a soul group. And so what happens is when you incarnate, you come down here, you take on a body, you go through life lessons that, again, you have complete freedom to do with what you want. You can make choices that lower your vibration, keep you the same, or raise your vibration. If you raise your vibration, then when you drop this body and you go back to your soul family, you actually don't go back to that soul family. You go to another soul family that has a higher vibration, and then you're welcomed and you're loved and you're supported and you're cared about, right? That's where all that heavenly stuff is. In your soul group, where you're loved, supported, there's no anger, there's no jealousy, none of that stuff is there, right? The way I was taught, all that stuff is down here, because this is where we need to learn and grow from. So we can raise our vibration, and then when we go back at a higher level. So that eventually we become the guardian angels and the helping spirits to help our younger brothers and sisters to evolve. That's the ideology that was taught to me alongside of the magical practices and things of that nature. So there are three types of people. There are the black magicians of the world, there are the gray magicians of the world, and the saints or the white magicians of the world. The gray ones are the ones who are awake, they know how this shit works, and they're just here to have fun in the video game. Sometimes they do good stuff, sometimes they do selfish stuff. That's okay. You can be gray. I love gray. 50 Shades of Gray, in fact. You can be pure white, where everything you do is about service to the continuum or service to a group of individuals. And of course, the black magicians, or the dark hats, as you want to think about it, all they care about is themselves. They want to just breed as much chaos and control as humanly possible, right? So, but it's all the same. You all have a soul. You all have choices. You all have access to different levels of abilities. It's the choices you make with what you have that defines at what vibration you're going to go up to when you drop the body and where you're coming back from. Okay? That's a little bit probably more of a drawn-out answer than people wanted, but that's kind of how it works. So, Cerberus, the grocery store and the library work well for me, Diego. I don't know what that's about. I have no idea where that came from. Oh, what's the best place to find women who want to date? Okay, then. Let's see here. King Titan, I've learned over the past 6 years to pay attention how I feel and not so much what I think. I'm almost 50 and started my journey 6 years ago. Very good. Joe Burton says, yes, I agree. My stories have changed from a victim stance to now one where I'm a lot more compassionate, although the pain is still there. Great. You're on your way, Jill. Now just get rid of the pain. And that journey starts with the transformational triad. If you can point to where you feel it, you can change it. Okay. Diogo is asking, thank you, Cerberus. Ananias, I'm in the same place, at Jill. King Titan says, it's been painful at times, but always moving forward, even in pain. Yes, remember, no experience, this is important, really, it really is. No experience that you've had in this life, no book that you've read, no course that you've taken is wasted. Everything counts, and everything means more than you think it does, until it means a lot less than you think it does. Right? That's a very weird paradox, but as you evolve and you start learning to let things go, the things that were important to you, that you thought were irreplaceable, that you couldn't live without, that goes away. And so you appreciate having these things, and you can let them go, appreciating that you had it. And that's a virtue that you develop as you work within your three bodies. Let's see here. Let's see here. Hold on a second. How long do triggers last? Jennifer, I don't know what that means. If you can ask a better question, I can give you a better answer. Cat G, at the door 117. If all that stuff was in the void, it can't be a void. Unavoid. Oh, God. Now they're playing on words in my group. I'm the star of the show, damn it! Oh, anyway, let's see here. Susan, I've noticed a distinct shift in the group, such as it is, the private AMAs, and also in what you're talking about in terms of energetics and more spiritual stuff. It's all good. Okay, cool. Roland, are demons real and are they evil? Yes, they're real, and by our standards and our perspective, they are very evil. Okay. Let's see. Jill, awesome. Jennifer says, are there common words in NLP of trance like plant seeds, happiness? If you're in trance, can someone plant seeds in your subconscious? Okay, I don't understand the first part of that sentence, but I can tell you that if you are in trance, someone can plant seeds in your unconscious. In fact, most spiritual beings can do that. Katchi says, sorry, kinda. Okay, whatever that means. Esty says, surprised to see this hump day AMA. Well, I aim to please. Okay. So Diego says, I've been in pain for the last relationship. How can I erase pain, move on, and find a new love? A, point to where you feel it. B, reach out and touch it. Trace the outline of that picture with both of your hands so you know how big it is. Write the lessons on the screen. Does this sound familiar? Magic frame. Start with the magic frame. Energy spin it. Color breathe it. And then use the resistance removal formula to clean up any last vestiges of it. And I think you'll find pretty quickly that space opens up in your mind and in your heart for something better. Okay? You're going to find that the quick and easy answer that I'm going to give you for all the crap that's bothering you, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, is going to come down to the transformational triad. And notice I said spiritually, because I have this on video, I've literally helped people remove curses using the transformational triad. If you are a member of our diamond level group, last month's mastermind, I had a guy that had a curse put on him, and his life had been just going to shit. And I said, point to where you feel it. I hit him with the magic frame. He came on just the last AMA and said his life is completely different. Right? There's a way that, again, it actually all makes sense from the big picture, but there isn't much you can't fix if you understand the structure of how these things are created. Joe says, is it better to use words, symbols, or pictures when image cycling? Ideally, symbols and pictures are better, but you have to do the loading part. So the more you load a positive emotion and connect it to the symbol, the more impact it's going to have. So how do you get rid of or break triggers? Again, transformational triad. Point to where you feel it, reach out and touch it. You start there, and then you go into one of the three techniques, and you just cycle through them depending on what you feel is appropriate. Okay? CM, yes, I'm finding placing too much importance on something brings into imbalancing forces. Mm-hmm. King Titan says, you made my day, David. These teachings are invaluable. I decided one day I was going to move forward in this magical way to, if not help this life, but my next one. Thank you. You are welcome, my friend. Use the tools, use them well. Do well by doing good. Once you've used them to change your life, you're now qualified to help other people use them to change their life. Share it, spread it, pay it forward. And because I'm becoming better at the YouTube thing, remember to like and share this video. Like and share. My daughter's laughing because she grew up with this fucking shit, and she, she's like and shares everything, right? Let's see here.
It is nowadays.
Dennis Santanillo, David, are your vest days over? No. No, my vest days are not over. I'm actually, hold on a second. And Trump, hey Dave, I'm a Christian by faith, so my theological beliefs differ. Will this affect my ability to use and master NLP? No. No, in fact, you can integrate your Christian approach into NLP and make it even more powerful. I'm actually trained and am training currently in Christian mysticism, which is the inner door teachings of the Christian faith. Again, I have access to things that have just most people wouldn't, or things find me that most people wouldn't. There's absolutely nothing in the NLP technology that goes against what you learn in Christianity or what Christianity is teaching you in terms of morals, in terms of techniques, nothing. In fact, it actually makes you a better Christian because you now actually have the ability to help people, which is what it's about. And because NLP, if it's done properly, if it's trained properly, teaches you to understand that people are never broken, that people are not evil, they're just trained badly, right? And it gives you the ability to really be non-judgmental, which is what the basis of the Christian faith is about, is really accepting and comforting and moving through the world, again, in service of the Lord, but also helping thy neighbor, you know. And part of the problem, one of the things that gets in the way of that is judgment. We're constantly judging. And NLP is all about, not is what they're doing good or bad, but is it useful or not useful? And if it is useful, how can I learn it so I can do it better? And if it's not useful, how can I change it so that they can have a better result? Right? You'll find that when you adopt the techniques of NLP, you're going to be better at facilitating that mission. Becoming a steward, I think, is what they call it, of the faith. Okay. Kim Titan says, love it. And I says, David, fun question. How do you think if you go out now, you could pull a 9 or a 10? It's a lot. I'll tell you what. It'd be a lot easier for me now than it would have been 10 years ago. And I'll tell you why. It's called Ferrari game, right? I have a little bit of celebrity status in the world because I have a lot of followers. I have people who actually binge watch my videos. So I am actually quite well known in the personal development fields. So if I were to go out and do those things, which I don't, because I'm happy with what I have, theoretically it'd be a lot easier. And because I understand these technologies from a very different place than I did even 10 years ago, and I was good 10 years ago, I'd say it'd be easier, you know. Of course, technically I'm out of practice, but, you know, don't tell my wife that. Anyway, let's see here.
I will.
My daughter's going to narc on me. Let's see here. Oh, how many of you have seen videos of my daughter when she was a baby
Oh no.
invading my webinars? You want to see what she looks like now? Come here, kid.
Okay. Okay,
here.
they saw me.
Come on.
No, I'm fine.
This is not the child who just rushed up and gave me a hug in front of 60 people, right? Anyway, let's see what we got here.
And then you've got my sister. She's
I
a
got-
whole other thing.
Yeah, okay. David, you're like an actual YouTuber now. Oh, say it isn't so. Let's see here. Entrepreneur says, oh man, thank you. You're welcome. Let's see. Medium Star Readings by Mary V says, David is married. Don't get him in trouble. You know what's funny about that is my wife knew about my attraction expert status when she met me. I think it was actually one of my selling points. Anyway, but I digress. What are the best books on Christian mysticism? The best books I've seen on Christian mysticism are by a man named Dr. Jerry Allen Johnson. There's 3 of them. I highly recommend if you want to study what's behind the curtain in terms of the Christian faith, you pick up those books. Let's see here. Benjamin Grateful says, hold on a second. Whoa, where'd that go? Also subscribe to David's YouTube channel as well, please. More great content is bound to be uploaded by David in the future. Thank you, Benjamin. That was very cool. J. Allen Oates says, wow, that's deep. Danka Usu says, healing. Any tips? Okay. KW, cute as before. Okay. Cynthia Hall says, your young ladies are so beautiful. Cynthia says, you're beautiful.
Aw, thank you.
My daughter is 12, and she's invisible, yes. She was on my Kuji class last night, and she learned how to do the invisibility mudras, and now she's impossible to see, but you can hear her. Okay. Jonathan Stone says, how and get a wife back, or how to get your wife back. Okay. First and foremost, work on your shit. Figure out what it was you did that caused her to want to leave in the first place. Fix it up and give it some time. Getting a wife back, getting a lover back has not been a focus of mine. Largely because everyone I've ever broke up with, I never wanted back. So, but if a lot of people want me to research those topics and field test some of those things, I'm happy to do it. But right now, I would start with fixing your own shit. Many times when you start fixing the things that caused the breakup in the first place, other things start to rearrange themselves, and that person comes back into your orbit. Another thing that goes a whole long way is actually admitting that you fucked up, if that's the case, and asking and sincerely apologizing. Okay, that's where I would start. And then look, there's a lot of people out there who have systems and techniques on how to get your ex back. You can look into those. But here's the thing I think you're going to discover. And again, you will avoid this as a suggestion, but I think as you start to unpack the reasons behind the breakup, that you're not going to want them back. Just an intuition, but do the work and see what comes up. Another thing you can do is there's an old test from the seduction world. It was called the 5 girl test or the 5 lover test. Anytime you find yourself fixated on a specific person, what they would tell you is go out and sleep with 5 other people. And if you still feel the same way about that person, then it's real. But if you suddenly, after the second or third person that you're with beyond them, it's no longer a thing, it was just kind of a, it wasn't about connection, it was really more about control. My daughter is pointing out people on the screen. Let's see here. Cali girl, my friend is suffering from de Quervain in her wrist. She's in constant pain. And yes, transformational triad. Ask her if it's okay to get rid of it. Watch her nonverbal responses and see if you see any hesitation. Magic frame it, then energy spin it, then color breathe it. Better than 50% chance it's going to go away or significantly decrease. If it decreases, do the whole process again. Keep doing it until it's down to a 0 and it's impossible for her to get it back. The name is Jerry Allen Johnson. And I don't get an affiliate commission or anything, but when you go buy the books, please tell him you heard it from me. Okay? I'm actually one of his students. So, why do people choose to take their life? What benefit does the soul get from it? I don't know, Anais. I have a very strong polar response to suicide. Some people look at it as cowardice. Other people look at it as being tremendously, having a lot of strength. The ability and willingness to take your own life. I don't know. I'm just gonna leave it at that. Okay, let's see here. Roland says, are we as humans naturally susceptible to narcissists? Is that why they can manipulate us so easily? Well, first and foremost, we're susceptible to narcissists because we actually like them. And we're all, to a greater or lesser degree, narcissistic. All narcissism is a self-centeredness that goes beyond what is socially acceptable. That's really all it is, right? Narcissism isn't a thing, it's a spectrum. We tend to find people who exude confidence and certainty and a willingness to take charge positively. And most narcissists are willing to do that because they like that. They like to be the center of attention, right? Ironically, in her book, Red Flags, Wendy Patrick says that the irony is that a lot of people who know someone's a narcissist still like them even though they know they're narcissists, right? Because narcissists are very good at endearing themselves to people. They just are, right? But we tend to view those kinds of people positively anyway because we as a species like authority and leadership. Okay? Tom Gallagher, how would you manifest a physical miracle? I guess it depends on the miracle. And ISMA says, do you have better, I don't know. I actually never met Tyler. I did know Neil. I knew Neil Strauss. I knew David D'Angelo, a couple of the other guys, Swing Cat, but I never met Tyler, so I don't actually know. I don't know. It's been a long time since I've been in that world. Andy Martin says, at David Snyder, 90 pounds overweight last 20 years, can't get the last 35 off. Food addiction advice. Do you know for sure that you have a food addiction? Start with the transformational triad. And then go and research what we call the somatic search engine. If there were a reason why I'm holding on to this last 35 pounds, and there were a place in my body where that reason was stored, and I could point to where I feel it, where would I be pointing? Follow your first impression, elicit the color, and from there you either go into magic frame, transformation, energy spinning, or color breathing. And you should be able to dissolve the barrier or preserve the rule that's holding you back from losing that last 35 pounds. Let's see here. My wife is a narcissist. Okay. That should be your first clue, Jonathan. Let's see here. Andy Martin, lifelong food addict. Okay. So use the transformational triad and notice what happens. Soul on a roll. I appreciate all you do. Been following you for a while now. I've learned a ton from you. Thank you. If you've learned a ton, like and share and subscribe. Like and share and subscribe, please. Did I do that right? Okay. Let's see. Sandro Fublers asks, when to and when not to energy spin. Sandro, to be quite honest, I have not found a contraindication to spinning. And the reason for that, I think, is because anything the human nervous system generates, the human nervous system can change. The only thing I would caution people who are going to go around spinning other people's stuff away is that many times when you spin it, the body goes into releasing, into purging mode, and they'll start to just vomit emotion everywhere. They'll break out in a sweat, their eyes will roll back in their head, they'll laugh, they'll cry, they'll yawn, they'll choke, they'll cough, they'll retch. They'll do a lot of times, especially if it's a deep thing, they'll do all kinds of weird stuff. And that's okay. It's supposed to happen that way. You just got to hold that space for them while they process. And it may take a minute, it may take 12 minutes. But you got to hold that space for them, let them know they're safe. It's okay to just let that shit come out. And when they're out, you have them try to bring it back, and 99 times out of 100, it's gone. They can't bring it back. And so you know you're done, right? Let's see. Yeah, Diogo Cavallero says, people take their own life not because they don't like life, but they don't want the pain anymore. They can't stand it. I'm one of those guys who did it but survived. And I would be in agreement with that. I would say for sure that is absolutely one of the reasons why people take their own lives. Do I believe in the theory of evolution? Yeah, to a greater or lesser degree. But I don't think the theory of evolution is at odds with anything that is in alignment with the mystical teachings from any of the major religions. Right? We're all here to evolve. Where does evolution start? Does it start on the physical plane, or does it start on the spiritual one? Right? So again, to say that we all crawled out of the ocean, maybe. What made us crawl out of the ocean? What brought us life in the first place? Was it just random? I don't believe in a random universe, guys. I just don't. What I do believe in is a universe that's so fundamentally interconnected it has the appearance of being random. So, but again, all belief systems are bullshit, including mine. The question becomes, does the belief system you have actually produce the results in your life that you want? If the answer to that question is yes, keep operating from that belief structure. However, if the belief system you've been taught isn't giving you the happiness, the joy, the fulfillment, the self-actualization that you want, entertain the possibility of adopting a different belief system. And keep experimenting until you find one that is useful to getting you the outcomes in life that you want. Right? All belief systems are just arbitrary sets of rules made up by humans about the way the world is based on the feelings they had at the time and the information they had available to them. That's all a belief system is. They're not these immutable, carved in stone, gargantuan edicts that we all treat them as. They're very, very malleable because they're all just decisions that we've made. Dennis Santaniello says, I've used the Echo technique for the last 2 years, especially with sales. I feel like such a Jedi. Gracias, David. De nada, amigo.
So Dad's
My
smart.
pleasure. All right? That's what we do. We train Jedi. Okay, let's see here. So Susan's saying, my observation from a lot of radio calls is that suicidal people lose perspective and can see nothing outside their problems and perceive helplessness and hopelessness. What their soul gets, I don't know. I don't know either. But taking a life is always a choice. So, again, I don't fault anybody for their choices. It was their choice. It's their body that... I believe, your body, your choice. I've always believed that, right? In spite of the fact that I'm very conservative in other ways. Okay? Bilal 300. David, can you please share your best language pattern to overcome resistance? Yes, I'll share it tomorrow on our webinar. But for those of you who don't want to wait, look up the how to remove resistance to persuasion. It's about a 45-minute video here on the YouTube channel, and you'll learn it in depth. But we'll also cover it tomorrow, probably in part 3 of the webinar. Let's see here. Lenny, hold on a second. Can't seem to manifest. Is there something I'm missing in your techniques? I would say probably, but my intuition is telling me that you have some limiting beliefs about what you deserve. So I would start there. Go into Gray Room, go into the magic, the transformational triad, start clearing your stuff up, start using the affirmation formula I gave at the beginning of this AMA. Apply that and see if that changes anything for you. Let's see. Danka says, healing. Any advice on reconciling two contrasting ideas that soul comes to learn through trauma and pain, and that learning can be done through love, joy, and playfulness, which seems a better way? Well, they're not mutually exclusive. You see, the problem that we have with the whole trauma pain thing is that we hold on to it. You've heard me say this in many forms, Danka, and again, it's true enough to be true here. You are not, and I'm using the editorial you here, you are not the way you are because of the things that happened to you. You're just not. You're the way you are primarily because of the way you recorded the things that happened to you and the way you've been relating to those recordings. Okay? You say you're driving down the road, you get T-boned by a car. That car accident happened to you one time. From that moment on, every time you pass by an intersection, you get a vision of a car T-boning you. Is there a car? Is the car real? No, but you think it is. You treat it like it is internally because you've lost that distinction, that it's just a memory. It's just a story that your neurology created. And you have absolute control over it. Okay? But you forgot. Or they didn't teach you how to control it or how to remove it or get rid of it. And so you hold on to it. And so as long as you keep holding on to it, every time you pass something that's even remotely similar to that original memory, it's going to trigger it. And that's what suffering is, by the way. Suffering is the pain that follows you whenever you try to run away from the thing that caused you the hurt initially. Pain is transient. Pain is that momentary discomfort that you feel on the way to something better as you're processing it out. So when you think back on things and you still feel the hurt, you're not done with it yet. You're still holding on to something. Resentment, blame, guilt, shame, whatever it is. And it's part of how you encoded that memory. But you have complete authority and control over that deck. So are you going to continue to hold on to that memory? Are you going to continue to hold on to that story? And stay within what the Buddhists call your acquired mind, that trauma-based mind? Or are you going to sacrifice it? Are you going to give it up to the universe, remove it from your system, and move one step closer to your true spirit, or your Yunshen, your true spirit, or your true soul? It's a choice. It's a choice that we have. Some things are going to be easier than others. That's just the nature of this reality. So I don't need to reconcile them. I think they're part and parcel of the same thing. We learn from pain and suffering. And ultimately, as we learn, we move towards joy and love. But that's where we come from. That's the soul. Soul is compassionate, it's righteous, it's loving, it's all-knowing, or at least it sees things from the bigger picture. That's who you truly are. But that soul part of you isn't connected directly to this life. It's observing. Think of it like a massive multi-online role-playing game where you created a character and you're moving through the world in this virtual body, and you're fighting monsters, and sometimes you win and sometimes you don't, right? But there's this you operating the character that's fighting the monsters, right? And there's levels to that, right? Again, this whole internet thing is actually, in a lot of ways, mirroring the structure of the spiritual dimension, the spiritual universe, right? Our job is to get back to that soul perspective, where the things that we encounter in this life, we feel them and we let them go, and they teach us things and we move on. But we don't. We push back. We fight. We try to deny the things that we're holding, the stories inside of us. That's what we do. You know, it's part of the human condition. So I don't think there needs to be a reconciliation. I think they're part of the same continuum. Right? Let's see here. J. Allen Oates, for the weight thing, you might want to find out if it's a medical problem. Okay. Jonathan Stone, what do you do when you have trouble remembering certain feelings? I know this is important for NLP techniques. Pretend you know what it's like. The secret to getting good NLP, even when you can't access what NLP is trying to get you to access, is to pretend that you can. Because you'll actually do an end run around the block and get the same information, and the technique will work. Jennifer Moore says, what is energy spinning? Get the video, instant emergency pain relief, all will be revealed. Let's see how much further down. Okay. Jennifer says, glad I caught you. Didn't think I was going to catch you. Joe Button says, I love that pain is the transitory path on the way to something better, or something like that. Love that. I've found it to be true clinically. When you astral travel, do you use the same astral body as after death? My training says yes. There's just more parts of you that leave at death. Joe Nodar, for dating, if someone is only talking about themselves and not asking much about you, do you think those people are narcissistic or just don't have great communication and dating skills? That's a great question. I would look at what happens when you actually start talking about yourself. If you start talking about yourself and the lights go out, they immediately lose interest, they start checking their phone, I'm exaggerating a little bit, or they come back with, and that reminds me of a time when and they try to steer back the conversation about them as quickly as possible, that would send off some warning bells. A lot of people talk about themselves because they want so badly for you to like them that they feel like they have to impress you. It's counterintuitive that in order for them to get you to like them more, they have to let you talk about you. We teach that's basic training in Planet David. That's why people who get our trainings, they have the golden ticket to anything they want. Love, money, sex, dating, you name it. Because they move through the world making everybody they meet just absolutely love them. Right? So for you, Joe, the best test for you is going to be using 3 Magic Questions protocol. Right? So if you go to the YouTube channel and you type in how to make someone like, love, and trust you in as little as 20 minutes, you will get a good basic training in the 3 Magic Questions protocol. And as you go through the 3 Magic Questions protocol, narcissists will start to flag themselves very, very quickly. You'll be able to sort people into the categories of yes, no, hell no, maybe just for tonight, yada, 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 right? But 3 Magic Questions is what you need for that. Diego, do you know how to astral travel out of the body? How do I answer that? Yes and no. What I mean by that is I know how it's done. I know the steps to do it. I have I have access to the training on how to do it. I don't practice it. So, yes and no. I know how, but I can't do it yet because I don't practice it. Although my teacher now is starting me on dream magic, and then we'll be getting into. I actually was taught how to do soul projection, which is kind of analogous to astral travel. So I can do that. Like in some of the martial stuff I was taught, I can like push somebody's spirit out of their body and unroot them. That's about the extent of my astral traveling right now that I'll talk about. Anyway, let's see here. Anais is asking, what are your thoughts about NoFap? I have no idea what that is. No idea whatsoever. Honor 20 says, if someone used covert external triggers on me with no contact, will they work in the future or will the power of them fade away? I think it really depends on several things. Their level of suggestibility and vulnerability at the time it was installed, and the intentions of the person setting the trigger. Some post-hypnotic suggestions can be indefinite. They can last forever. Others will fade over time, depending on, and really what determines the longevity of a trigger is how often they're used, or overused, as the case may be. Okay, I think that's caught us up. Oh, I spoke too soon. What to text a girl the day after meeting her? Dave, that largely depends on the quality of the meeting that you had. Right? I mean, again, if there were things that you guys discovered you had in common, decide that you're going to go do something and invite her along. Simple. Or, set a coffee date or something. Stupid spell check. Can I explain cycling? Jennifer, I could, but we would be here for a long time. Best thing to do is look at some of our Hidden Laws of Attraction trainings. You can also reference Bill Bengston's The Energy Cure or Image Cycling. One of my students on his channel, his name is Evan, created a video that explains image cycling, a la David. So you can look for that. Why don't the gurus teach about the thought field? I don't know. I don't know which gurus you're talking about. Okay. Joe Nodar says, awesome. I've been struggling with that for a while. Thank you so much. You're very welcome, my friend. Lighthouse of God says, God bless you, David. God bless you back, my friend. NoFap. Oh, semen retention. Okay. I've never heard that term in all the years I'm a big fan of semen retention. I think it's a very useful practice. There has been science that both affirms and contradicts the practice. Since semen is created, the body pulls energy from the organs to create semen. It's a very powerful substance. So I think anything you can do to promote the creation of it, the retention and circulation of it, the recycling of that energy into the body, is going to go a long way towards reinforcing your jing and giving you access to higher levels of ability. Lighthouse of God says, no FAP equals no masturbation. I think he meant, can abstaining from masturbation help harness your sexual energy? Yes. Anything that allows you to hold on to your seed is going to go a long way in building your energy. But it's not just about retaining it. It's what are you doing with it? Are you using an alchemical process to refine it, turn it into a higher level of energy and circulating it through the body? Are you just letting it lie fallow in the genitals or in the system and not doing anything with it? Are you rechanneling that sexual energy to your higher centers? It's not just about the practice. It's what are you doing with it, right? What other practices besides not masturbating or not spilling your seed are you engaged in on top of that, right? Because it's just an energy source, right? So, what are you doing with it? And most people are the victims of incomplete teachings, so almost everyone will reach a certain level in their process and they'll stop because they don't have the next level. Let's see here. Will Dog says, David, you are a blessing. Well, thank you. That's very kind. I think I feel blessed to have all of you in my life, either by proxy or in person. A teacher isn't much good without people who want to learn. So I'm very grateful for each and every one of you, and that's why when I do these things, whether it's an in-person training, a virtual training, an AMA, whatever, I try to give you the very best information that I can, that answers you, that gives you an answer that you can use, but also kind of leaves you a little hungry to take the next step, because the more we work together, and I don't know what level that is that you're coming with. Is it is it all the free stuff? Is it the live trainings? Is it the products? You get to choose what level you're comfortable with. But I want to encourage you all to level up in whatever way that looks like for you. Because again, the more people I reach, the more light comes into the world, because you are the lights. You're the candles that go out, the lit candles that go out and light everybody else's candle. And then there's more light in the world. So I'm grateful every moment of every day for your amazing faith and confidence and willingness to learn. And I encourage you in whatever way is for you to level up. Whether it's joining the next level, the gold level, the platinum level, the diamond level, whether it's joining the mastermind, whether it's coming to our live events, buying our webinar pack, whatever is in harmony with where you want to be in relation to our content. Do it. Even if it's a little bit uncomfortable, that's a good sign. Being a little bit uncomfortable, being a little bit nervous or skeptical or anxious about leveling up, that's a good thing. It means you're about to do something important. Right? It means you're about to change. You've leveled up and decided you're worthy of a change, right? And I don't care what that is. Whether it's again going from the free level to joining the newsletter to the gold $9.99 level. I don't care. You deserve the best, and I want to give it to you in a way that is comfortable for you, because I'm grateful, right? That being said, because I am a YouTuber and I am learning this, please like and share this video to the world, right? Let's see here. Why should we not practice ritual before doing image cycling? What ritual would you practice? Source is all-knowing, but your soul isn't. At least not the way you understand it. Theodore117 says, good night, David. I like the video, so don't put curses on me. Okay, I won't put curses on you. Cali Girl, why should we not? Okay, I answered that question. All right, answered that question. Where can you study that? Go to Dr. Johnson's website and find his training on Neigong training. that's probably the best I can show you. Actually, his Inner Secrets of Bhagwat Chang video has some of that training in it. The one I was trained in person, so I don't know that technique is in a book anywhere. But I know in his early Bhagwat videos, he talks a lot about the upper, like, invisible levels of internal power. So you might find it there. Jennifer's asking, instead of cord cutting, how can you uproot or dissolve? I don't want it to grow back like a weed. Well, first thing you got to do once you've cut the cord is you've got to clean up the thing it was rooted to in the first place. Cords can't attach to you if there's nothing inside of you that's vibrating at that frequency. The reason cords get attached to us is because of something in us that has the same frequency harmonic as the cord itself. The less of those things you have inside of you, the less windows into your system an energetic vampire has. The other way to do that is to just completely remove your attention from the things trying to attach cords to you. Yilka de Boer says, how would you explain rechanneling energy to your other centers, or where can I go for information on this topic? Probably your Taoist systems are going to give you and your yogic systems are going to give you the best training on that. I'll be doing trainings on it in the future, but probably not until at least 2024. It's obvious that people in Planet David want access to higher energetic trainings and things like that, and I do have those. I just am really, really, really careful who I teach it to. But I think you'll find a lot of really cool stuff in the work of Dr. Jerry Allen Johnson, for sure. Please let him know where you heard about him. Like I said, I don't get any affiliate commissions or anything like that. I'm just trying to reap some good karma. Okay. Let's see here. I met someone who seemed to get into my mind. I found out he was a level 82 Freemason. Was he just using NLP and astral travel? I do not know. I really don't know. I have no way to examine and quantify that in any way, shape, or form. Seth Breitbart says, when you are comfortable being uncomfortable, you got it. Jennifer says, I don't mind being uncomfortable. That's how I know I'm getting somewhere. Very good. Is he talking about doing the middle pillar? The middle pillar is a very powerful ritual for energetics and channeling. It's from the Western traditions, but it could be used for that if you have the inner teachings. Joe Nodar says, is it dangerous to listen to trainers explain dark language patterns? Will simply listening to them explain the patterns install it? I want to be aware of that stuff just to be safe from evil people. Joe, that's a really great question, and the truth is, it really depends on the intention of the trainer. It really depends on the intention of the trainer. If they intend to install it, yeah, they can install stuff in you. The fact that you're aware of it and shielding against it helps to mitigate it, but as long as you're paying any level of attention to those people, then those words have access to your mind, and if they have access to your mind, they have access to everything. Jennifer says, I joined. Very good. Joined what? We have different levels, Anais, we have different levels of membership and access to content here on the YouTube channel. We have the gold level, the platinum level, and the diamond level. And then Jennifer's saying that she just joined. I think she joined our gold level. Let's see here. J. Allen Oates says, do you practice Kung Fu? I have an extensive background in the martial arts. Martin Communications, what is the difference between soul, spirit, and source? Depends on who you ask. But if you think of source as the creator, the soul is a fragment of the creator that has awareness and consciousness. The spirit is a body created by the soul for it to move through the multiverse in. The spiritual body or spirit then creates an astral body which then creates a physical body. And so you think of it like a glove within a glove within a glove, or like an exoskeleton. And now I ask, thoughts on angel numbers, David? I don't have any thoughts on angel numbers. I don't really study it. I don't really practice that. On the things I study and practice, I will talk about all day long. On the things that I don't study or practice, I will just tell you I don't know. Joe Nodar says, thank you. Is Kenrick Cleveland safe? As far as I know. Kenrick is one of the best in the world at this stuff. So if you want to learn this stuff, I learned a lot from his early courses. I'll tell you that right now. I don't think there's anybody better in the world at languaging than Kenrick was. He's done some dark side stuff. He's done some stuff that's for the business world. I think you have to really go in with your shields up, parsing what's being said, and decide for yourself if he's safe or not. I can't, everything I've had or that I've worked with has been fine. I will tell you up front that a lot of the installations that he does, like through hypnosis and stuff, I do them in my own voice. I do them in my own words, just because I know how good he is, right? So, Anais Anayan says, how has David changed your life, Jennifer? Wow. Okay. Benjamin Grateful says, do you have specific things to say, words to use from experiences with either yourself or with other people regarding deservingness of something? In my case, it would be money, success, and friends. I really don't understand that question, Benjamin. I don't understand the question. Ask me, reword your question, and I'll see what I can do. The one thing I have a hard time doing is any of the exercises to bring up my vibration. I can't sustain it for long periods of time. What can I do to sustain it for longer periods? Focus on fun, pleasure, joy, compassion. Do a daily gratitude check. Every time you start to feel down, start with a gratitude inventory of everything in your life that you're grateful for, starting with actually being alive. Being able to draw another breath is a reason for gratitude. The gratitude inventory, as simplistic as it sounds, will start to raise your vibration because it will change how you view the world. It will change the perspective that you take. Is Kenrick about hypnotic? Kenrick was, I think, the godfather of hypnotic language. I know a lot of people think Igor Ledachovsky is like the greatest thing since sliced bread, and I like Igor a lot, but honestly, in terms of real world applicable, no holds barred languaging, the guy I cut my teeth on was Kenrick Cleveland's early Max Persuasion stuff. I don't even know if that course is available anymore, but that wrote my ticket in life, and then I just kept adding stuff onto it. Right. All right. What is dream magic? Dream magic is the ability to become lucid in your dreams and then to slowly begin to control the dream reality and then ultimately use that to influence reality outside of your head and in other people's dreams. It's part of the Buddhist mystical tradition, the Taoist mystical tradition. I think it's also in the Christian mystical traditions as well, but I haven't gotten to that chapter in my studies on Christian mysticism. So I'm still learning it. I'll let you know more as I get better at it. So Ishara from Sri Lanka is asking, any speed attraction NLP books you can recommend? Well, you can start with our speed attraction course, our rapid attraction secrets. Great book for anybody who wants to utilize hypnotic languaging or hypnotic processes is called Love Trances by Craig Ravinsky. It's a great read. Okay, a lot of people are asking me about Kenrick. I don't want to go too deep into Kenrick's world. He uses a lot of the same skill sets that I use, especially the early ones like the language patterns, the NLP, things of that nature, reframing, right? The tools are inherently neutral. They can be dangerous, or they can be benevolent. They can be evil, or they can liberate you or imprison you. It's the can they have physical effects on you? Absolutely. But it really comes down to the skill and the intention of the person using them. Okay? So again, the tools are neutral. The magic is in you. What are you going to use it for? Does that make sense? What do you want to use it for? And remember to like and share this video. Smash that like button. Okay, so any tips to start a new hypnotherapy practice? I'll get to that in a minute. Martin is asking, when recording affirmations to play for self-hypnosis or to play throughout the day, is it better to record them by saying, I am or you are? I would do both. I would do both. Because they'll give you two different perspectives, and one will take stronger than the other one will. But you'll have you cover both bases, right? And I would do them in groups of 3, 7, or 9. Your neurology tends to like odd numbers. Hypno Guy, any tips on starting a hypnotherapy practice in a new city, just moved to New Zealand? Yes, start a meetup group and demonstrate to the general public how you can fix other people's stuff, and then give them the opportunity to work with you personally. It's one of the fastest, easiest, most powerful ways to create content that people like, get a read on the kind of clients that you want, and position yourself as an expert in the shortest amount of time possible with the least amount of monetary investment. Jodar says, Nodar says, thanks so much. Great question again, Martin. Skyhound asked, is semen retention healthy? Yes, if it's done right. So we're coming into the home stretch here. So I used to feel people and see light or color in people when I was little. How do I get that back? Clean up your shit. That's why you lost it in the first place. Because somewhere, some way, your neurology decided that it wasn't good for you to be able to do these things. So you got traumatized and layered it up. Clean up your shit, and those will come back. So do the love J-Buck. I noticed a correlation between flying in a dream and thinking positive in real life. Are there other correlations you've found? Not that I know of. Dream interpretation, dream magic is new on my plate. I'm just starting my in-depth studies of it now. I may find more correlations as time goes on. But as of right now, I can't really give you more information on that. What's the best way to show your gratitude to the universe when you manifest something? Share it. Pay it forward. Verbally declare gratitude to the universe for bringing this into your life. And then pay it forward. Find a way to share what you've learned. Teach other people how to do what you've learned how to do. But pay it forward. The Hypno Guy says, thanks, David. You need that animated finger smashing the like button. Do they have one of those? Okay. CM, David, I have severe COPD. Tips on how to drop the belief in the fact that lungs don't regenerate and strengthen my belief that I can manifest a miracle. Yes. Clean out all your grief, loss, sorrow, and focus on the energy of gratitude. Gratitude is the healing emotion to the lungs. So the more gratitude you start to generate, the more rapidly that area will start to heal. Jennifer Nunez. When I say affirmations now, I always state it as if it's already happened, so I always start out saying that I'm supposed to be grateful that my outcome is. I have to trick myself. Okay. Andrew Tate says, in order to lucid dream, you have to remember the last thing in your mind. That may or may not be true. I don't know. Okay. That's always when I'm happiest, helping others. Very good. All right. Hey, listen, guys. This has been awesome. My kids are here. They want some daddy time. So in the words of the immortal Carol Burnett, I'm so glad we had this time together just to have a laugh or sing a song. Seems we just got started, and before you know it, comes the time we have to say so long. Remember to smash that like button, share it out, join, level up, join one of our premium access levels. Join us tomorrow for more How to Reprogram Your Subconscious Mind webinar and that amazing webinar package that people love. I'm going to have something super special as part of the package tomorrow, so you don't want to miss it. Good night. God bless. I love you all. Take care.